Hello, welcome to Third Act Film. Today we'll be discussing Fantastic Four,
Woo!
apparently. Here with me is some guy, Todd James,
Hello.
and I'm like James Forbes.
Hi, James.
Alright, let's just get this over with. Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Why do you like?
Let me interrupt here. So you're already being quite negative.
I'm so depressed.
All right. Now, the reason this is happening is I quite like Fantastic Four.
Why?
We'll
Why?
get into that. let's not jump the gun.
Do you also like genocide?
No, I'm not a monster. Right. And and James obviously did not like this film at all.
Along with the rest of the world.
A lot, yeah, true, true.
Point one, yes.
No, not point one. If we should keep a little tally on this video for
Not
who
doing
scores
that.
what. No, all right, that's too much effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, you go. You go first, since you have the support of the world. Go first.
I tell you something, yeah?
Okay, tell me something.
My son, he could build anything. And then 2 seconds later, his car breaks down that he built, apparently. He can't build a car, goes from point A to point B, and this didn't achieve that. Already, you're like, so that was a lie.
Okay. There are a couple of reasons. First of all, what's his name? Franklin.
Yeah.
He is trying to sell his son to these people, so he's not going to be like, my son can build most things. Right, he's going to be like, my son is amazing, he can build anything. Secondly, Johnny Storm, he is like some penniless guy. They discuss how he has no money in the very next scene. So even if he can build anything, if he doesn't have the finances to fund
Why
what
does
he's
he have a
building,
job? If he
he's
could-
a street racer, James.
He earns quite
What do you mean,
enough.
why doesn't he have a job? He's at school or
What's that
something.
got to do with anything? We didn't even know that. Why doesn't he have a job? And why is he?
He
Why is
doesn't
he
need
living
a
off
job
his father?
because he's
And how
meant to be-
rich is his
He's
father?
meant to be like 16, 17 in that scene.
Is he?
Yeah.
We have no idea
He's
of
me-
the ages
He's
of
like
any
the,
of these
the
people.
same age.
They all look 30.
Yeah, they do. But, but
They
they're,
all look 30.
yeah, but
they
they're
did
meant-
nothing.
they're meant to be like young adults, like early 20s at the old. At that point, I think they're meant to be like 18, 19.
This is another major issue of this film. It
Okay.
doesn't answer anything. They're just like, yeah, just go with it. Like, how old are these people?
Well, we've just established.
No, but honestly, they look so much older than what they're supposed to be conveying. And then
True.
when we have passages of time go by, there is no difference in their appearance.
True.
You have
A lot
Reed
of films have that though.
Richards.
You're only saying this because you didn't like it. You would never. You
Oof,
look at Captain
oof.
America. Like 70 years go by in that film, and he doesn't look a day older.
Oh no, what's that about?
You know, loads of films have that though. There are really good films that have that.
Yeah, but they're also really good. So they can do stuff like that, and it still works. If this film was even half good, I would overlook that. I'm like, yeah. It's Hollywood.
Okay, one of my biggest points. You just said if this film was half good,
Yeah,
more than half of this film people like. The first
yeah.
hour, most people say, I thought that was pretty good.
Well, there's just absolutely nothing happening. That hour.
That doesn't
you're talking
matter.
about.
No. Stop,
Let's
stop
build-
turning this around, James.
Let's build a teleportation machine
Right,
for an hour.
most reviews I've seen, and most
Yeah.
people agree, the first hour is good. That's more than half of the film.
Yeah.
People enjoy, literally, to counter exactly what you just said, people are saying, I like more than half of this film.
People like half of this film. I feel as though people say that because the ending of the film is so much more disappointed when you're like, oh yeah, this is going somewhere. Oh no, it's not. No, it's no, that was awful.
What?
And then if all of your family gets killed, yeah, except
Yeah.
for one of your relatives, yeah, you're like, it could have been.
Who-
You're like,
who-
well, at least he didn't kill all of my family. I've still got my cousin.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the film, and I was like, which video? Right.
So
Okay.
yeah,
I get you now.
if someone kills all of your family but leaves your cousin, you're like, well, at least I didn't kill my cousin. It's still tragic, and you're
No,
looking for the
no,
positives in it.
no. Let me phrase it like this: if
Okay.
someone kills 45% of your family, if someone kills 4 out of 9, you're going to be like, well, still got 5 left.
Your family has still been killed. That's what
Less
my
than
point
half.
is. Count your blessings.
Exactly. That's more than 50%.
This is the worst analogy
And
ever.
you're still alive.
Yeah, having to witness it. I'd rather be dead. Fucking hell.
Well,
It's just, yeah. I've got another point.
okay. Please, throw it at me.
It's just quotes from the film.
Okay. Let me try to justify as many of them as I can.
So you listen to music. You remember this? We have
Yeah.
Reed Richards, Sue Storm, who in the comics they fall in love, and now I've never been one to be like, oh, you got to stick to the comics, but either make up your mind: are they gonna fall in love or aren't they? They're sitting there talking to each other, and he's like, oh, so you listen to music. I understand Reed Richards' character is he doesn't have many friends. The only friend he has is Ben Grimm in this,
hmm
and he's not very social.
hmm
But he understands the concept of music. Yeah,
The concept of
the
music.
concept. Yeah. Let's just grasp that. Does he understand the concept of it?
I imagine so.
Yeah. Why is he now talking to her like listening to music is this rare commodity? Like no one else. He's never met someone else who listens to music, and he's like, oh, is that your kind of
That's
thing?
not what it is. That's an awkward bumbling guy trying to hit on a hot girl.
And then her response as well. She could have just said, yeah, shut up. Yeah, you idiot. Well, of course I like music. Everyone likes music. But instead she's like, no, it's the pattern in it, like the patterns. And I'm like, okay. And then
So-
following on from that, yeah.
Right.
So they've established that not only does she like music, she has to work with music, and she likes patterns. You're like, okay. Don't see how that's related to her ability to turn invisible. Don't see how that's related. I don't see how it's related to anything else in the
Okay.
film. Then they put her in a position. Her father comes along and says, Sue, I've got a great job for you. You need to find Reed Richards. We think you're the only one who can. After a whole year, we've only now decided to ask you to look for him. After a
Right.
year, but anyway. Could you have a look? She gets on it, pass me the music. We're like, oh, hey, remember? She likes music. So original. so edgy.
Right.
She likes music. Brilliant. Puts on the music. And then she finds him because he called himself Captain Nemo.
Yeah.
So she didn't find him using patterns.
No, that's not true.
How is that not
she
true?
used the patterns that she was looking for to find the username or whatever it was, and when she saw the username, she was like, "That's him."
She found the username.
Also, let me just address a couple of things.
Okay, God.
All right.
It was kind of long.
First of all, her description of music being patterns and tension and release, completely true.
What do you mean completely true?
As
Like,
as a
factual.
degree holding musician,
Why do you keep admitting
I'm gonna play
this?
that card.
Stop
All right.
admitting it, mate. Like, okay,
Right.
yeah.
That is something that you're actually taught about the tension and like release of music.
Yeah. Is she a musician?
You don't have to be a musician to appreciate music. That's like saying, "Oh, James, are you a filmmaker?" No.
I've made
James, do
films.
you program video games? No. You
I've
still
programmed
play 'em?
video games.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
no,
when I was younger, I
stop
did.
lying.
Anyway,
Second thing, Sue Storm. Okay. Give me 3 words that describe Sue Storm's character from the
God.
comics.
a fake wig.
No, from the comics.
Oh, from the comics.
Yeah.
Well, she's the sister of Johnny Storm.
No. 3 things that describe her personality.
Describe her personality.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, I see what you're saying.
Right. So how is Kate Mara? I want to say Kate Mara.
So Sue struggles with the fact that she's trying to keep her family together whilst they're trying to. She is.
I
'Cause
said
Johnny.
3 words.
Yeah, I can't- it's
like
difficult to
what
say 3 words.
personality traits does she have?
What personality traits does she have? Takes some responsibility of her family. She does. Why did you stop
Wait.
doing that face? Well, she does. They even did that in the. I was going to say the bad Fantastic Four, but I think I'll confuse the listeners.
No,
In in the
the
previous
1990s one. Oh no, right.
in the previous Fantastic Four, she does that. Johnny Storm is just off the handle all the time, and she's having to rein him in.
He's just a cool dude.
And then all of them are arguing, and she's like, "Guys, listen to me, stop this." And then no one listens to her, and that's why she is the Invisible Woman, because she literally is the Invisible Woman in
All right,
both
so
senses of
so
it.
she's like the mother of the group.
In a way, yeah.
Okay, give me 2 more personality traits of her, and we're not talking about the films. Remember, you're still drawing from the film. The thing I'm trying to say, Sue Storm is such a non-entity
Okay.
in the comics that her being equally a non-entity in the films doesn't mean anything.
Is very reflective. And
Is that like they had nothing to work with? Like, what 3 words describe Sue Storm? Blonde, invisible woman. Like, well, they got all 3 of those ish with the blonde.
yeah, her hair was all over the place.
You know,
Like,
I didn't even notice while I was watching it.
yeah, but I get it because it's like reshoots and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think she she like cut her hair and dyed it brown. She was like, thank God I'm never doing that again. Like, it was like a ritual just to forget. And I don't blame her. I'm surprised she didn't just change her name as well. Like, don't stop that with the hair.
Just get a sex change. Just commit.
Just to be sure.
I want to make sure.
I don't want anyone to associate me with that.
So right.
I
Come on,
can't
attack
bother.
me more. I
All
feel like
right.
I've had an argument for everything so far.
All right.
All right.
Why did Reed run away? Halfway through the film, Reed and
Yeah.
all of them, they've been given their powers now.
Yeah.
Reed is all contorted out, which is, well, I keep getting sidetracked by how awful it is. But his arm is all stretched out, but his mass is still the same. Is supposedly supposed to be the same. If you've got an elastic band, you stretch it out, it thins out, but his arm didn't. Sorry?
Yeah, but in the comics, he's stretched way further than he did in that film.
But he doesn't. Anyway, ignoring that.
Is that
ignoring
what, that's not? That's not. A
It
complaint
really,
you can have.
really annoys
No.
me
It's
because
that's not.
because that means he's adding mass to himself, and that's mean he can just become
No,
infinitely
he's not
big.
adding mass. He's altering mass.
No, but if he was altered mass, then it would be stretched out, not just elong. Like,
Okay, what about the Thing?
okay,
His mass significantly increased,
yeah,
and you're not questioning it.
because of the green ooze. And let's not get into the green ooze as well. Oh my god,
Right.
it's just one bad thing backed up
Okay,
by another
first
bad
of all,
thing.
that scene where he runs away, that follows.
Why?
That I'll get to that. That follows what is the best scene in the film that I know.
Oh yeah, when it went black, and I was like, "What am I doing here?" And I had a chance to think.
No, the scene when he wakes up and he sees all of his friends and they're horrified and when you first see him all stretched out, that is horrifying.
Oh, and that really clever bit when he's like crawling forward, and he keeps on crawling even though his legs are trapped. You're like, "What's happening?
Yeah.
Oh, my legs
And
are
when he
long."
sees Ben Grimm and he sees him like half rock monster and he sees his friend's body, his friend's like carcass on fire. It's horrifying, that scene. Okay. And I know you like it because I was talking about it with you earlier and you were like, yeah, that was a good scene. All right, so don't try and turn it around now that all of our cool friends are here. All right, our internet friends.
Yeah.
And he runs away because, as we've mentioned multiple times, he's 19 at this point. He's
But
just he's just had like a horrible life-changing, life-threatening experience. He's seen his friends all caught up, and he's like, I've got to help them. If I get away, I'm a smart guy. He just runs away because he's scared.
And they've never established that before. They never a lot of things that they did in this film. They don't establish it as a characteristic of the character. Like, does Reed Richards run away from his problems? Every time he's had a problem, he's always faced it head on. But now this time, he's like, "Oh no, I've really screwed up." What about when he almost caused the black hole? He was like, "Yes, let's continue. Let's do the next
he
one."
didn't know that. He didn't know he almost caused a black
He
hole.
was a kid, and he just wiped out the whole city block of electricity. And
yeah,
supposedly
he was like,
fine.
cool.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, awesome, I did it." And now his friends have been mutated. He's like, "Oh, maybe I should study them." or figure out what the hell's going on with me.
No,
But
because he's like,
instead, he runs out of the military facility, which is probably the only place that would have been able to cure all of these people. He's like, oh yeah, better leave. But your friend Ben, he's calling for you.
You got to remember about a minute before that bit,
Yeah,
he is tied up or not? Yeah, tied, strapped down on this table
yeah.
with scary-looking scientists all like
Oh
going
no.
at him with
What
implements.
the same scientist that he is. And that's the other thing as well. All of these people are supposed to be really smart. And they didn't do anything smart. When
Like,
they went over to Planet Zero,
you mean
whether
that scene where they were drunk?
they were drunk, yeah.
Yeah.
And
You're telling me no one drunk has ever done something stupid in their life?
yeah, they
Yeah,
did something
yeah,
stupid.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they did something stupid because they were pissed.
They didn't, and as well, they didn't even establish the fact that they would drink. They would. Why would you drink on that night?
Because
You're in a government facility. I don't even drink at my job.
I'm glad.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, if you have just an ordinary job, you don't drink. And these guys are like, hey, you want to.
Yeah, because they've just spent years working on this project.
So they're like, let's get drunk, but let's not do it at home. Let's do it at the facility.
Because to go
And then as well,
home,
why
to go
did no one else was checking up on them at all? Just
Why
there
would
was
they?
there was no random like intern just there or
Why
whatever.
would they?
Ooh, why would they? This is
When
like
when you're
top
like
secret
at
government
work,
stuff.
do people come in and like regularly and be like, "Oh, hey, just checking in, making sure you're not using the teleportation
Not
machine."
checking in, but walking past the facilities. They're not
Yeah,
security there. Like,
it's night.
why is there these
It's not.
four suited up
Why
guys?
would they? They work there. The security guards aren't going to be like, "Oh, it's suspicious that these people are here. They've been there late every night working on this machine
Yeah.
for months,
And then they're
years
like,
and
oh,
months."
let's call up Ben Grimm. Let's get him in.
Yeah.
And then he just clears it with security.
How many times has a drunken person called their friend and been like, "Man, I love you. You've got to be a part of this, man."
I just.
Don't tell me you never call me drunk and crying, James. I'd be like, "Todd, come round. You've got to be a part of this." Okay, that's never happened.
Yeah.
But that,
I don't know. It's just.
and that is, I will give you that. That is just a story device to get Ben Grimm there.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't just have him working at the Baxter Building as well. To be honest.
If he already helped make the first teleportation device, then
Yeah.
why wouldn't they, if why didn't Reed Richards say, "Oh, I'm not going if he's
Yeah.
they're friends."
He could have just been there
He's
having
his
a job as like
only
a
friend.
labourer, as like a physical labourer.
He's
He,
his
he worked. He
only
worked in like a
friend.
junkyard.
Yeah,
So he clearly knows how to work with metal and stuff. They could have easily had him there. That's
Yeah.
true.
and there was a load of other people cutting on making the machine.
True. But it didn't. It's not an issue that they called him in. A drunk person, like a drunk 19-year-old guy, wanted his friend there for a big moment.
Plus, as well, you're not allowed to drink under 21 in America,
So
so they all got
Von Doom
liquored up.
was Von Doom.
But-
He was older.
What a
Right?
name.
He was a bit older. And
Yeah.
he had
And
like
then
a full beard.
He got them all drunk.
Yeah.
In a government facility.
Yeah.
And they got into a teleportation device. No, not one person was like, "Hey, wait a second. What you no." I don't understand how
Because why would they
no one
question
was there.
people?
working on the project.
Yeah, being there.
Yeah.
They
And
would-
how did Franklin not be like, "Oh yeah, but keep maybe a small eye on these guys. I've just given them
'cause he
bad
doesn't
news."
feel like he needs to. They're his children and his
Like adopted,
proteges
like-
who he loves and respects. He doesn't feel like he needs to keep an eye on them.
I'm currently holding my head, like in shame, about this film.
Okay.
Another point.
Okay, come on.
You have Reed Richards now. Now, a thing that a lot of people dislike about the film, they get their powers and they're all screwed up, and they get their powers, and then it cuts to 1 year later. You
Yeah.
miss all of their. They could have done a 5 minute montage just showing us, but anyway, you miss all of their development. You miss all of the reactions from it, and they just go to 1 year later. Okay, Reed Richards is out there running around. They eventually capture him because he's called himself Captain Nemo. He deliberately wanted to be captured, but then, you know what I mean? Why would you call yourself Captain Nemo and not just call yourself Mr. Fantastic? That would have been funnier.
I don't think they were going for funny in that point.
They did try some jokes. They
Oh,
tried.
yeah, the jokes were bad.
They
Um,
tried quite a few jokes. That's one of my later on points.
Right.
And then they capture Reed. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in this like helicraft thing because they're flying back to base. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's Reed Richards and the Thing, and the Thing is just there, all mopey, all
Twiddling his
he's-
thumbs.
He's a mopey rock, like
Yeah.
where, and he's like, "I blame you Reed for this, and Reed's like, I know, and then that's the end of that. Whilst, meanwhile, from what we understand, Reed has been working on the cure for the past year, escaped the government facility, assuming that Reed is the super genius and has already figured out that the military is bad, and he's like, oh, I can't trust them, even though they didn't show us that. I better work on this myself. Let me go to the negative zone, or planet
Planet Zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Let me go to planet Zero. Let me get the green goo and then, throw it on him again and see what else he changes into. Hopefully, throw enough things at him.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm just like, okay, so he's done all of that. Now the Rock guy, Ben Grimm, has said, "You've turned me into this." He doesn't even argue. Doesn't say anything.
Because he
And
probably feels guilty about it.
yeah, he
Do you remember
can, he
he
can.
called him up especially to come on this
Yeah,
mission with
yeah.
him.
Ben Grimm is a full-grown man who is totally in control of his own decision, and he
Yeah.
wasn't drunk.
No.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then when all of these drunk guys say, let's get in a teleportation device, the only sober guy was like, yeah, I'll go. He was the only one
Yeah,
clear
because
of
he's
mind.
presented as being like not hugely smart, and if your super smart friend and his
Who's
two
also drunk.
super smart friends are
Who are
like,
also
no,
drunk.
no, it's safe, it's fine.
It's not safe and it's not
You'd
fine.
be like, yeah. And Ben Grimm comes
Ben
from
Grimm knows
nothing.
he knows about the
He comes
teleportation
from
wave.
like a nothing family, and he's like
Okay,
a chance to be a slightly dangerous chance to be remembered for all time for a huge
but
achievement.
he's
I'll go in for that.
yeah. He's
You'd go in for that right now.
what, teleport to a negative zone. I keep calling it that. Sorry.
It's fine. I
Planet
forgive you. I know
Zero.
what you mean.
Yeah, keeps
Okay.
going to Planet Zero with a bunch of drunk scientists. I'm just like, guys, like, no. Has anyone done this before? Oh no. And you're drunk and doing this? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just like, that's Ben Grimm. That's on you. If you get into a car when the driver is drunk and it's your scientist friend and he's like,
Different.
nah,
That's
come on.
different.
How is it? It's even worse.
No, because a drunken car is a drunken car. A drunken driver is
Too much.
directly in control of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not directly in control of the machine. They get in the machine and they press go and it works.
Yeah.
They aren't like physically moving.
They're not physically moving, but the decision was bad. They still had to get into a suit.
Yeah, it was bad, but
And Ben Grimm still made that decision. That's my point. He made a bad decision, and then he blames
because
Reed,
Ben Grimm is
and then
nothing.
Reed didn't even argue it. He just accepted it, and they moved on. They just glossed over it. And then prior to that, they're like, lovely, killing all those people, Ben Grimm, all these nameless assailants that we have no idea about. He's just killing people, like kill count 50. You're like, wow, what? Who are they? What have they done? Like, oh, they
Yeah.
okay, but you just okay, sure, it's just some random terrorists. We'll say it's ISIS. They didn't even say that. You know what I mean? They could have just said they should have said, oh, there's a new
They're
bunch of
Russians.
Nazis, or
Right.
they're Russians. Yeah, they could have just said that, and we're like, yep, I accept that. They didn't say who they were, but anyway, then they're there. He's killed a bunch of them, and then he says to him, "So if I keep killing, you'll find the cure for me." And they're like, "Yes,
I'm
we'll
twirling the
find.
moustache.
Yeah, we'll find the cure for you."
Okay, tell me this.
And then
With
10
the
seconds later, he's like, there is no cure. I know there isn't a cure. So why are you doing this? You've been doing it for a year. You've been killing people for a year.
what choice does he have?
We don't know what choice does he have. He's a fucking rock. He could kill 50 people. You're telling me he can't walk
They
out
can
of that
still
facility?
get him.
With what? He's a rock!
What do you
Like,
mean he's a rock?
electrocute
A
him.
missile.
Shoot bombs at
A
him.
giant net. A big hole. in
Have
the
you tried
floor.
to, like, hurt a rock in your life?
I've thrown many rocks into water.
He's just made of a
into
rock.
trees,
Plus, as well,
into other rocks.
they've established that he's not happy with his life. So
Yeah.
why would it matter? He doesn't even care. He doesn't even like himself. He's already established that A, he's a hideous monster. B,
Yeah.
that he can't be cured. And C, now he's a murderer.
But he would first of all, the scared young man who came out of the teleportation machine
Yeah.
and agreed to work for the government. Is only going to get more and more scared, and
And kill more and more people.
yeah, and
And he's
after
fine
a
with that.
year, he has gotten so wound up, and he has been like brainwashed almost by the people to believe that Reed is the bad guy, and he's been sent on so many missions by this point that he's like,
It's
okay,
good that we got to see all those missions, or even one of those.
yeah,
That was great. That wasn't in it. We did get this nice black screen with the text 1 year later. Oh, I love that. Oh,
okay, it would have been interesting to see what happened in that year.
yeah,
I can't deny that.
yeah,
That would have been an interesting bit, but how many we've seen that a million times in superhero films.
yeah.
At least this tried to be. It wasn't like, oh, let's see them learning how to use their powers. Like that's kind of boring. Now, how many times have we seen that? Isn't it good to see something a bit different now?
No,
What?
it wasn't good to see this. This wasn't anything. It wasn't an origin story, and it wasn't a not origin story. They were like, okay, yeah, let's not show the origin, but let's still show the origin, and let's not show the origin. They didn't make up their mind on what this film was. It had no direction whatsoever.
Well, that's because two different people wanted to make two different films.
Yeah, and it's
But
clearly shown. You have
yeah, it's
he's
obviously
he's
some
trying
parts.
he's showing Reed and Ben when they're really young, and then suddenly they're superheroes right at the end. There's no.
No,
What do you mean no?
no,
Literally, they're
that's
the young kids. Then
yeah,
suddenly they're 30-year-old, 18-year-olds
yeah, true.
at a science fair, and then they make this machine. They get powers 1 year later, and then now they're a team. When Reed has left them ages ago, Ben Grimm's a murderer. Sue Storm does nothing.
I report you back to my Sue Storm
Oh,
argument in the comics.
so Sue Storm did nothing in the comics, therefore she should do nothing in the films.
Well,
Great,
no,
okay,
but I can't.
solid
They had
point.
nothing to work with. They had nothing to work
You
with.
have you have four people. I said this in my review that the Incredibles managed to do it. They did it in the Incredibles. It's literally the same sort of
Yeah,
superpowers,
true.
and they did it. They managed to make you care about each one of those characters.
Yeah, Incredibles is better than Fantastic Four. I'm not arguing that.
And then with this, Sue Storm, she could have died like immediately, or she could have died right at the end after all of her character development.
Yeah, she had none.
Yeah, and
But
it
she's
wouldn't
had
have mattered.
none in 70 years of comics either. That this is a moot point.
And then and then Johnny Storm.
Okay, we haven't spoken about him yet.
We haven't now. Let's get to Johnny. Now Johnny,
Apart from my son can build anything apart from a car.
yeah, he can build anything apart from a car. So let's put him on this teleportation device. I feel like not one person took this teleportation device serious.
He wanted the best for his son, and he knew the only way his son could get to
Is
the
to
heights
lie
that
to
he knew
the
he could get.
government and say he's
No, but
qualified.
he wasn't lying to them.
Well, he was.
He knew what. No, he wasn't. In his head, he knew what Johnny was capable of, and his whole career is nurturing young, intelligent people and getting them. And so is at the point now where he can recognize when somebody has potential, and he can nurture that, and he can bring that out in the best way.
By leaving him alone with a bunch of
Drunk scientists.
drunk scientists.
No,
Yeah,
because he was off trying to convince
Von Doom to
not
get
Von
his
Doom,
get his
the
son
the
drunk.
other bad guy. He was off trying to
It's
convince
just-
him that because he wanted his son to be the first one to go to the planet zero, the negative zone.
Negative
Let's just
zone.
call it the negative zone.
I believe that's what it's called in the comic.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you got him. Then all of a sudden, after a year, he's now like, I want to join the army. I want to kill some bad guys.
he's-
After a year,
He's like a thrill seeker inherently,
yeah,
and he's the only one. Think about his power. That's a cool power. If you had that up there with Spider-Man for coolness,
yeah.
if you had that, you'd be like, I want to be on fire and fly around all the time. Yeah, and he's seen Ben Grimm, and he's like, I'm better than Ben Grimm in
Well,
every.
but-
They have like a rivalry.
So you have these two characters. You have one who wants to be part of the army, but for some reason has to wait a whole year before they consider it, or
Mhm.
have even suggested it to him. And then you have another one who's a rock and doesn't want to hurt people, who then becomes a murderer. Wouldn't it make more sense the other way around,
Yeah,
where
but
Ben Grimm is against
Ben
it?
Grimm gets shot by a gun. He doesn't even feel it. Ben
Yeah.
Grimm is immediately effective. Johnny Storm, not only does he have to learn to fly, he has to learn to like control his fire flaming powers.
Yeah, and that's the other thing as well. It's just that 1 year gap is one of the main problems here. How long did it take Johnny Storm to learn how to fly? How long did it take him? Because by the time we see him, he's like, "Oh, I can do the takeoff in 5 seconds." I'm like, "Why does it matter, mate? Like, you're a person on fire, like, and you can fly around. Like, I don't care how
because he always wants to be his best.
How does
That's
it,
inherent
but
in
why does it
his
matter? He got from 6 to 5 seconds. Like, it's not in the world. Anyway,
right. That's a silly argument. That means nothing. That argument.
it's just
All right.
Johnny Storm could have died as well. They all could have died. When
Yeah.
Franklin
True.
died, I was like, good. Now he's out of this fucking film. That doesn't have to be part of it.
You're right. Yeah. The characters were all underdeveloped. True. I can't argue that.
Okay.
But there was, well, five characters essentially
Yeah.
who were all vying for attention in a film where clearly about an hour's worth of the film was cut.
So you have 5 characters and they didn't develop one. If they'd made the whole film about Reed Richards,
If
then at
if it had
least.
been the 2.5 hour version that Josh Trank had wanted to make, I think,
But it
and the
wasn't.
reason I give this film a lot of benefit of the doubt because I can see the good film around this, and I've fleshed it out with my
Yeah.
mind because I'm smart like but and I can recognize the good parts of this film.
What parts did I like? I was going to say the end, but the ending ruined the end for me. 'Cause it just
Wait, what end do you mean?
Well, I was going to say like when the credits rolled, I was like, oh, thank God I can leave.
Great.
But it got
A cheap
ruined.
gag.
They ruined that for me
Right.
with the ending when all of a sudden they're now superheroes and they can demand whatever they want. I'm like, okay, whatever. And they get a new, what's it, Central City,
Right.
and they get their own facility.
Yeah.
Even though these people are still strangers to each other, but okay. Especially Reed Richards has been gone for a year.
Okay.
Reed had been gone for a year and then come back for a couple of days and like, oh, you're right, Reed. How you been?
Yeah, but he was still friends with Johnny, and he was still friends with Sue. Ben is the only one who didn't really like him.
And now they're best friends again because they beat up Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that awful joke at the end.
Yeah. That very end scene is bad.
Yeah.
That is bad. Do you want
Yeah.
to talk about Doom?
I didn't want to, mate. I didn't want to. I wanted to avoid that.
Okay.
This is
I
Doctor Doom. People may not know. This is part inspiration for Darth Vader, as in costume, as in feel, as in look. And you
okay.
can see that.
You can.
And Darth Vader's voted many times, and Doctor Doom voted many times as one of the best villains of all time.
Okay.
And
Okay. Just stop now. All right.
And they make him
Okay.
into
Just
nothing.
stop now. So, Doctor Doom, he isn't. It isn't as good as Doctor Doom in the comics because Doctor Doom in the comics is great. But
Yeah.
the scene where Doctor Doom breaks. First of all, how is this film a 12? Right. He breaks out. The scene where he's just walking and exploding people's heads. Spoilers, by the way. And just exploding people's heads
Yeah.
is scary, and it's great. That scene is awesome.
But it's from a different
Because-
film. There was no
Okay, subjectively, is that scene alone good?
tonally. Does it fit in with anything
No,
else that
that's
we've
not what I'm
seen?
saying. I'm saying, on its own, is that scene good? Is that not an
If- if-
intimidating,
if you don't-
scary,
if you don't-
powerful
If
villain?
you don't put any thought into it, it looks cool. That was in.
No, you're
No,
trying to make
honestly,
it sound.
honestly. If
No,
you put
so
no,
yes is your answer to that question.
but then the second that you turn your brain on, you're like, wait, how is he doing that? And why? Why is he doing that?
He's doing that because Doctor Doom is a character, and he has shown this throughout. He just doesn't care about human life.
Yeah.
And if you were that powerful, lots of films have it where a super powerful being
Yeah.
is shown, and he decides to punch somebody, when what he really would do is what he did and just blow up their heads.
I get it. That was the whole message behind Chronicle, Josh Trank's previous film. Apex Predator. If you kill
Yeah,
a bug, you don't feel guilty for killing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's
that's
the
what
same
that
with
whole
Doctor Doom.
scene
That
is.
he's
Yeah.
so further apart from us. But why is he? They didn't. He got some green goo on him. He was away for a year. Then he comes back.
Okay, we don't know he was away for a year.
What do you mean?
So they're in Planet Zero.
Yeah.
This is an alternate dimension. We don't know anything
Oh, what
about.
the time frame?
Yeah.
It might have a different.
He could have
time
been there
frame.
for 20 years, 50. He could have been there for 1,000 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't
But they
know.
didn't answer that.
No, they don't have to.
They don't answer a lot in this. I said that.
What,
before.
did you want some clunky line where he was like, I've been here for 1,000 years?
If the time difference was a different.
Well, he had to be there for a while because he knitted that cool cape.
Yeah. I think I've got a solution to where his cape come from.
Where?
The flag that they brought.
Oh yeah,
Is that it? And
covered
then
in green goo.
and then it got
Yeah.
covered in green goo, and then he
Thank you
just
for
wrapped around
arguing
his.
a point for me. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly where it
That's
came
the
from.
only. That was the only piece of material. Or alternatively, he can fabricate materials, but we haven't seen that ability.
Yeah.
This is another example of them not giving us any answers. They could have easily have shown like the flag going with him, or one scene in that year gap that they took of him like, oh, I'm out here all alone, put on this flag, and it gradually loses its
But
color
why
over
do
the
you
time
have
of
to be
it.
shown everything? And
I got to be shown something.
and think about other films, right? When you watch, I don't know, Thor,
Yeah,
and he suddenly has a new ability, you're not like, whoa, I needed to be shown that. When you watch Iron Man 2 and he does that laser beam attack at the end, you're not like, hold on,
yeah, but that's
that needs
Iron Man.
set
That's
up.
part of his character. Every new film he has new abilities and new things. Is Iron Man? He invents stuff all the time. This is Doctor Doom. He can blow people's heads up, and then when he's in the negative zone, he can't. They didn't explain that as well. Could he just not use his abilities in the negative zone when he's
Yeah,
fighting the
quite
Fantastic Four?
possibly.
Why did he go fisticuffs? And then if he is, then why didn't he just like run away? He knows the environment, and as well is actually hinted towards more that that's where his power originates from, and that's where he's most powerful. Because when they return there a year later, they're like the whole environment has changed,
Yeah,
which implies that he changed it.
yeah.
That's what we think
He like
anyway,
reformed it how he
and he
wanted it to
reformed
be.
it.
Yeah,
So then, if he's able to move mountains, why can't he just fling these four people into that bug zapper machine he made, and then just like, oh, that was easy. All right, what's next? And then the X Men
okay.
come out. Whoosh,
Full admission, the end fight isn't that good.
yeah.
It
Well,
isn't
the end
that good.
fight was just they're like, we need to end it.
Yeah, but any film where, like, imagine if the end of the Avengers was just all of them attacking Loki, wouldn't have been that good.
Well, that's what the Avengers was.
No,
Go-
no, because he had the Chitauri army.
Okay, yeah.
Right, end of Age of Ultron. If it was all of them just fighting Ultron, it wouldn't have been that good. Right, I don't think they had the budget to include like a little Doom army for them to smash through, and a fight 4-on-1 is never going to be that interesting.
It was kind of interested in. Was it the 2005
Don't say that. That's not true.
when they
When they break the fire hydrant and
yeah
have them be like, Supernova, do that now.
yeah
Not interesting.
that was way more
It's
interesting than
much
this.
worse. No, no. Okay, this is another
That had-
point that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
People wanted to hate this film.
Whoa.
People really wanted to
Yeah.
not like this film.
Fantastic Four's trailer was one of my favorite this year. It's got a really nice sinister tone.
Yeah,
It's
but
borderline
people,
horror.
I genuinely believe people heard about everything that was happening, and they were like, and then they heard, oh, no one's allowed to see this film until 12 hours before it comes out,
Yeah.
and all these things, and they were like, oh, it's gonna be so bad. You go in wanting to hate it and thinking you're gonna hate it. Chances are you're gonna hate it. A lot of people say, oh, I went in with an open mind. Very few people actually do that.
I didn't. I just went in to watch it. I didn't. Why would I want to watch a bad film?
No, you.
To have this discussion that I don't want to have.
Oh,
Great.
Thanks. No, but I just I feel like people genuinely maybe not wanted, but expected and therefore did dislike this film. And yes, there are bad parts to it. For sure, there are bad parts to it.
There's a lot of bad. There's bad pacing. It's boring. Nothing really happens.
Okay, I'm trying to make a point here. All right.
Oh, I was just adding on to your point. Sorry.
Right. Well, now I've lost my flow now. All right. Okay, what have you got? Anything else you want to say?
So
Right.
going back to Doctor Doom, I have an endless list, mate. Going back to Doctor Doom,
Sorry.
he's in the other world. He's in the planet Zero,
Planet Phantom Negative Zone X.
and he pretends to be hurt,
Maybe he is hurt.
but they don't establish
But
either way.
wouldn't it make sense if he was hurt there
Yeah,
and then being back on Earth, that healed him and made him stronger, hence he could use his head exploding power. Then by the time he got back to the Phantom
that's another thing as
Planet
well.
X zone,
I guess if to help the film, which I shouldn't say for a film, to be
right?
honest, that's a bad line. But to help the film, assume that the green goo,
Hmm.
if you're infected with it, it gets more powerful the further away you are from it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So instead of being
What?
close,
This is an unknown chemical. What
yeah.
if it combines with oxygen to become more powerful? We don't know that. What about
Well,
Superman?
there was
Not
oxygen. There
once
was
have you
oxygen.
questioned Superman saying,
There was oxygen on the negative
"How do you know that?" They were all wearing
because
face masks. They weren't breathing the
the
atmosphere, though.
Fantastic Four weren't.
Or- What?
And in the end fight, they weren't in their suits.
Oh yeah, they weren't. But by that point, Doom could have realised
And then given them
and
oxygen
then
just so they
created
could fight,
oxygen in the atmosphere.
so they could have a good fight. He
Yeah,
likes a good fight.
yeah, he does.
They've established that, like from the day one when he was sat in that chair playing
And
Assassin's Creed without using his hands.
he's playing Unity as well. What a missed opportunity. Um, sorry, but at that point as well, his whole character drive is how much he doesn't like these people, particularly Reed Richards. And if you have a
But he
god
doesn't like
complex,
Reed
aren't you going to be like, oh, I want to smash this guy with my fists?
instead of my telekinetic
Yeah.
powers that I have and didn't use once.
Okay, think of
in
someone
the
you
fight.
hate. You like
Okay,
hate.
great. Fantastic Four, yeah.
Okay, okay. The personification
So I'm
of Fantastic
thinking of
Four.
Fantastic Four, yeah.
Okay. Now, would you rather blow that up from afar or get right in there with your fists and just pound it?
I'll probably blow out from afar.
No,
I don't
you
want to get
wouldn't
near
do.
it.
No.
It's Fantastic Four.
What if it infects you with its badness? No. No, you would.
Oh, what's this? Put my hand in there.
Especially if you.
Oh, I've got powers now.
This chemical is an unknown substance.
And then he put his hand in it.
Yeah, what if it has like a draw to it?
They didn't establish that. There's so many things
No,
that
you
can
don't have to establish everything.
do. Why
No.
wouldn't you?
You
You
don't
can't- I
need
can't
everything
just-
to be explained for you.
But you at least need to leave clues for me to try and figure out. Take the
If I
flag.
figured it out, you could figure it out.
No, but you have no evidence to back it up.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Which point do you want some evidence for?
So the evidence for why he put his hand in the green goo.
Because he's like, oh my god, I'm the first person to ever go to this place.
Yeah.
He's exploring. He's like, this is all so incredible and mind blowing. What is this stuff? His feet have touched the ground,
Yeah.
so he's like, oh, the
He hasn't
substances
touched-
here are safe.
But he hasn't touched the green goo. Why would you put your hand in green goo? Are you mad?
I don't think he intentionally just like puts his hand right in it. I
did.
feel like he goes down to like feel the energy, and then it's like it like draws him in.
But they've never shown that that's a property of it. Other,
It's because you never see it before or since.
yeah,
You don't see it again or before.
yeah,
So why? How is there a chance to even know that?
exactly. So then you're left guessing. That's what my point is. They don't teach you anything. They don't show you anything. They don't leave evidence. Even if you're the smartest man in the world, you won't be able to. You won't get an answer because there is no answer. They're just like, yeah, he just puts his hand in the goo and now it erupts, and then it's all erupting. Wouldn't it have just made more sense that as soon as they landed there, that they screwed up the negative zone, Planet Zero, screwed it all up, and it all rumbled up, and they're like, oh my god, let's get out of here immediately. And then they can't get back because there's like a recharge time or whatever. I would have accepted that. And then you go back without having to make Victor Von Doom look like some idiot who puts his hand in green goo. Have you ever, even if like glow sticks,
Mm.
if it's leaking, I'm not going anywhere near that. That's a glow stick. I'm not going
I-
to put. I'm like, oh, just coat myself in this. This is great. That's
You're
on
telling
this
me
planet.
There's never been like a bit of food on your table, and you've been like, oh, what's that? And then you put it straight in your mouth.
I might smell it,
All right.
but that's
So
on,
so you
that's
put
on,
your skin on it.
that's on this
He
planet.
was wearing a protective suit.
That's on this planet, and he put his hand.
Yeah,
in
an
green goo.
unknown smudge.
It could have,
And you're like, what is that?
but I'm just a bit like,
You don't know what that is.
if I had seen that, I might have been like, oh, it might be like molten lava or something. Better not touch that. Why else would there be green goo in the ground? It's not going to be like, oh, I found gold.
It could have been like water from that planet, couldn't it?
But he didn't know,
Exactly. He didn't know.
and he
It
put
had
his
just
hand
as
in
much
it.
chance of being safe as being not safe.
And then it caused all of that, and it was an unnecessary scene. They could have just done it a different way. I'm just so sad right now. They've just ruined this. I didn't even like Fantastic Four to start off with. It's not like you've even ruined, like, my favourite. It's not like Star Wars, like, getting ruined. It's just,
So why are you so upset?
Because it was just a
And
bad
it's not even
film.
no.
It's boring.
It's
Nothing
no. It's
happens.
not boring. It's lots of stuff happens. Lots of interesting, fun things. Not fun. It's not fun.
No.
But it's
And the
just
ending is awful. We've agreed on that. You said that
it's
half of
not
this.
great.
You said that half of this film is good, which I'm assuming is the first half.
No, I think much more. I think everything up to in when they go back into or back to Planet Zero to fight Doctor Doom. Everything up to that point is good, and even that isn't awful. That final fight, it's just
It is awful.
what they had the
That's what
money
you had.
for.
You had Johnny Storm, who now has the ability to fly through rocks. When did he get that? Isn't he still like human?
Yeah, but if he's superheated,
He can pierce through a rock
yeah,
instantly. I'm like, okay. He smashed through rocks with his head.
yeah.
They didn't get the guy made of rock to like, oh look, get Invisible Girl to do something finally. Lift up the rock guy and throw him into the rocks.
All right, but if you'd seen him smash through a building, Johnny Storm, you wouldn't have been like, why is he smashing through a building?
Well, because that's glass.
No, through the brick part of the building.
Depends on who hit him, but this is his own momentum going through. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's also like
Anyway,
there's
this is
so
this is
much
the
of
bit that we
this.
both agree isn't that good.
Yeah.
The rest I'm arguing is good.
Okay. So 2/3 or half changes.
80 to 90%.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I
It's
would,
just that last like 10 minutes is kind of
it's not 10. It's like a 20-minute scene, and then
all
is where you
right.
got the
The last 15 minutes.
and then you
We'll
got the
meet
five
halfway.
minute scene where they're suddenly telling the government what
Yeah,
to
that
do.
seems bad.
This is why they never. Did you ever feel as though Sue or even Johnny were against the government?
No, none of them really were,
Then why
apart
at the
from
end
Reed,
are they? They're like, no, we're doing it our way. I'm like, okay.
because they all they want to do is do their research in peace.
And why did none of them go and look for Reed Richards? I just
They were stuck at the facility.
no, they weren't. Johnny Storm can fly and she can turn invisible. The two easiest abilities to
All right,
escape a facility.
that's the truth. But he can fly.
And she can turn
He's
other
going to be a
people.
bloody easy heat signature to follow if
Yeah.
they want to just drone him out of
Oh,
the sky.
if only he had a adopted sister who could turn him invisible. Oh, if only.
He would still come up on as a heat signature.
What when he's walking on the ground after he's escaped,
Yes.
and then she turns him invisible, and then you're
Y-
like, all right, let's
yeah.
go. She could turn the thing
You're telling
invisible
me
as well.
humans don't come up on heat signatures?
I'm telling you, they were invisible, and she can make a force field.
Invisible doesn't mean you're not warm.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes,
all right.
we do.
Let's not
Come
argue
on.
about that. But she still has a force field,
Yeah.
and you still have the thing who is made of rock
But they don't
and
want
who
to
doesn't
escape.
care about his life.
What reason do they have to want to escape? They've been told we're going to help
Well, the
you
captors.
and we're going to try and
Yeah,
turn you back.
yeah. But then,
And
but yeah, yeah,
their
yeah.
dad, Franklin, is working with these guys.
To try and fix them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So why would they not believe that they're trying to fix them, make them better?
exactly. Yeah. And then
So
at
why
the
would they
end,
run away?
yeah. But then at the end, they're totally against them. They're like, we want our own facility, and we don't want to work with you guys.
Yeah.
And they're saying we want you back how it was. And they're like, no. After all what you did to us, what did they do to them? This is what I'm saying. It doesn't fit in with the character. Either be A, against the military, or B, not.
You kind of have a point. But
It's this lack of consistency with the characters. They're not real characters. They're paper men, and they're just told, "Oh, now this happened. Oh, Reed Richards changed your face. Why? Why is he? No one knows who he is anyway. They haven't got
yeah,
this.
but cameras know who he is.
So they didn't. They couldn't find him anyway.
Yeah, because he changed his face.
So he changes his face. He goes into the building, into like he's in the middle of nowhere, and we're expecting to believe that there's a camera that that government has access to, which they haven't shown us the reach of this government. We haven't shown us anything about the government really.
No, it's not like a camera, like a CCTV. I imagine it more like a satellite,
A satellite wouldn't be able
like
to see
Google
his
Earth.
face. They wouldn't even be able to see the person.
Sorry, if Google Earth can show you the details Google Earth can show you, the American government have something that can. That,
What? See your face from space?
yeah,
Hey.
James, we're inside.
Yeah.
They can't see inside. Well, maybe they can.
No, no, no. They couldn't. No.
And
And
anyway, they said he's had a few pings or whatever they said. That doesn't mean they've seen him physically. It just means they've caught like track of him
oh, it was great
online.
that we got to see those pings and see those, that
You don't
growing.
need to see
It's great that
everything.
we got to see that growing tension between Ben Grimm, you know, who just wants to talk to his friend, and his friend constantly is not listening to what he's trying to say, or anything like that, or any development, or anything. Just Ben Grimm,
Because
he
he
was
spent a
a
year
nobody.
being told that Reed is the bad guy who's run away and left him in this situation,
What, his
and he spent
only
a
friend?
year being told that these guys are trying to help him.
His
You
only
got, you got
friend.
some people saying, "I'm trying to help you." You're
Yeah.
just this scared young man who's had this horrible thing happen to him, and you got these people telling you, "We're going to help you every way we can."
As long as you
Your
kill all
friend's
these
a
people.
bastard who ran away.
But your friend, who is your only friend of your whole life, has told you, "I'm gonna fix you." It's like the last thing he said to him, and then you're like, "Oh, I hate the guy. How dare he?" Reed, I blame you. I know it's your fault. Well, let's run over the events again. You soberly went into
Oh my god!
yeah, you went into it, and then it all went wrong. That wasn't my fault. I invited you. You accepted that invitation. That wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything. You hate me for no
Yeah,
reason,
because
and then
look,
instantly
we've
likes
been
him.
over because Ben Grimm,
Yeah.
he comes from nothing. He's just this completely average guy, average intelligence, average looks, average life. He's not going to amount
Hey,
to
Jamie
anything.
Bell is
Okay, yeah,
there.
he's quite handsome, but he's never going to amount to anything. Imagine
Right.
you're never going to amount to anything, right?
Brilliant.
Imagine someone tells you you can be remembered for all time if
Yeah.
you come with me now. Your most trusted friend, and you turn up and he's a little bit drunk, but you're still like, well, I've committed now.
Yeah.
Come 40 minutes on the train.
Great. Yeah. So that was his decision. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was his decision, but he still blames
Yeah, because
Reed Richards when it isn't his fault.
it kind of is.
How is it his fault?
Because Reed was like, trust me, this is going to work. And Ben Grimm was like, yeah, okay. And then it didn't work.
Yeah. But
It's Reed's fault.
how the hell would Reed even though he didn't do anything deliberate? It was an accident, and it wasn't his fault.
Okay,
It was
remember in
actually
the
Dr.
accident,
Doom's fault. Von Doom, or whatever his bloody name is.
Victor,
Victor.
he was Sokovian, I think. Right. Yeah, but if you've had a year, if you spent a year just being told that your friend is wrong and that these guys are right, you're going to start to believe it eventually.
Okay.
You don't think so?
No.
If you spent a year being brainwashed
But
by powerful people who are telling you how much they're
you've also
trying to
spent
help you.
20 years being a friend with this guy.
20 years? No, 7 to 10.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, true. 10 years being friends with this guy.
Half the
Who's-
amount of
who's-
time you said.
Yeah, who's his only friend.
Yeah, who now ran away when he needed him most.
And the last thing he said is, "I will kill you."
Imagine if you were trying to record an awesome video and then I ran away when you needed me most. You'd be
Yeah.
a bit like peeved. Now times that by 10 million.
And I hate you, and then instantly like you right at the end.
Because they came together and remembered the power of
The good
friendship.
times, about the times that they fought an evil person in the negative zone, and it all worked in the end. We got to remember, we got to work together. Well, like Franklin said, it's just
Yeah.
the worst film of this year.
No, no, no.
I
no,
want to
no,
end
no,
it there. It's the worst film of this year. I can't think of a worse film. Even Pixels.
No, Taken 3 was way worse.
Even Pixels was.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
we've almost hit an hour.
Yeah.
So,
and we haven't got anywhere.
I would like to know, have I convinced anyone of that this film is even 1% better than they initially thought? Because I think I've fought a good fight here.
Yeah.
I've had something to say to virtually everything you've said, and you have just stubbornly denied all of my points.
Okay.
And I just want to know if anyone agrees with me in the slightest. Probably not.
If anyone agrees with me, well, don't
Like
even
this
don't-
video, if
no,
you
no,
think Fantastic
don't
Four
even
is
like this
awful.
video. It's just like, don't say anything. I think the
No.
less we talk about this film, the sooner we can all forget. We need to move on. On that
All right.
note, bloody hell. All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. that Hydra wanted Nick Fury to create the Avengers.
It has the immortal line, "I'm 50 shades of effed up."
Well, yeah. Also, Looper sort of heavily hints at alternate timelines.